picture, just like all the cubes. But as I say here, it's really not coincidental in ancient times that the circle represented the divine, while the cube or the square represented human mankind. It's not divine, it's kind of a made artifact. You don't find a lot of squares in nature. You find a lot of circles in nature, but you don't find a lot of squares in nature. It kind of lends itself to being something that is manufactured, something that a human being kind of expresses himself or herself through the making of that cube. It's also not coincidental that cubic forms and prismatic forms are the lingua franca of architects. We all use them. It's the default thing to use. Modernism was built on the idea of boxes and prisms and all of that. It signifies territory in the sense that it is a clear delineation between what is inside and what is outside. It signifies shelter because it relates, when we see a cube, we tend to think of it as an enclosure, as home, as a house. And it provides focus. You know, a cube, especially when it is an actual cube, like equal dimensions, you tend to focus on the middle of that cube. It's more of a stationary space rather than an elongated prism, which is about movement. Cube is about focusing and being stationary in one place. So that's kind of the philosophy of a cube. But what are we trying to do here? I'm asking you to do a bit of form finding, not so much like digital or anything. This is completely physical. But I want you to construct a cube that's 25 by 25 by 25 centimeters. I want you to create it of very precise dimensions. And I'll warn you right now, I have given this assignment many, many times before. You are all architects, or at least or engineering. But you all have basic training in dimensions. You all know how to use a measuring tape. You all know how to use a scale. I cannot count to you how many times students have submitted a cube that is 26 centimeters, 27 and a half, 23 centimeters, and 3/4, right? For some reason, they cannot measure it to be 25 centimeters. So when I ask for a cube that is 25 by 25 by 25, I mean it. It needs to be 25 by 25 by 25, okay? Please measure it accurately. I'm going to have a shipping box that is exactly 25 by 25 by 25, and you're going to put your cube inside that shipping box. If it doesn't fit, your client will not get that box shipped to them, and therefore you will fail. So please be careful about that. If it is too small, it will rattle inside that shipping box, and it will be damaged when it's being shipped, and you will fail as well. So it is really important to come up with something that's accurate. The cube doesn't have to reach 25 at every corner, at every surface. It's not, because it's going to be a really funky cube. It's not going to be like flat surfaces. But it has to touch those edges or those interior faces of that shipping container. Yeah? It has to reach 25 centimeters, at least in some aspect of it. So that's the first requirement. The second requirement is that it is made of found material. You are not to buy anything. You are to go around the building, you are go around skips. You know what the term skip diving? Yeah? Go looking skips. Go behind Tesco's. Find material and use that, go to Ben and beg him for some screws, some bolts, that's fine. Just don't buy stuff. That's all I'm asking you, if you don't buy it. Okay, so that's the, how you're going to make this box. But conceptually, or on a more technical level, what is it going to do? It has to express the idea of a vertex, an edge, a face, and a volume. I don't know why you're taking a picture of it, because you have it on Learning Central. You have this on Learning Central. You can download it. It's your assignment. You should have. Don't worry about taking a picture. So you have to have this cube some way or another. It's completely up to you. Express the idea that cubes have vertices, they have corners, they have edges, right? And they have surfaces or a face, and they actually all together express a volume. Okay, so make sure those are expressed. one way or another. It's completely up to you. It should express the idea of an exterior versus an interior. As I said, so the cube should somehow say, I am either completely excluding the exterior and I'm completely focusing on the interior, or I'm having something that the exterior comes into the interior in some way. But the idea of exterior versus interior should be expressed in that cube. And you tell me how you decided to express that. It should express the idea of opaqueness, translucency, and transparency. Can I see inside of it? Can I partially see inside of it? Is it completely transparent? Can I see right through it? Again, take a position, decide what you would like to do, and express that idea in you. It should express the idea of craftsmanship or craft, precision, and tectonics. Meaning, it's made by your hand. So I want to see it being made very precisely. I want to see it made very in a beautiful way, kind of by the use of material. You have made the decision to put two materials together. So you might make it out of 10 different materials and you have put them all together. So tectonics is about detail and material. Where did you decide to drill holes? Where did you decide to put the bolts together? What materials did you bring together? Right? So I needed to express that. You wanted it to be a messy cube on purpose? Go ahead, make it messy, but tell me why you made it messy and how you made it messy. You wanted it to look like a jewel box? Make it like a jewel box, but tell me why did you make it a jewel? Why is it so precious? Why does it look so precious? Yeah? Is it going to be mass-produced? Is it a one-off? So that kind of craftsmanship and the kind of the role of craftsmanship in architecture is really important. It should express the ideas of materiality, color, and texture. Obviously, when I touch it, how is it going to feel on the hand? What am I going to see? What is the color, the overall color of it, or what are the different colors? What's the texture of it? Yeah, is it rough? Is it smooth? Why is it rough and why is it smooth? And the next one is really important. Actually, probably the most important part, because this is not just something that you're going to hand in and forget about it. You're going to be using that cube for future assignments. So be very, very smart about it. Be very careful about it. Take a look around the building and try to understand why Wasim is telling us to keep 70 to 80% of the inside of this cube empty. Don't fill it with solid material. It has to be 70 to 80% empty. Okay? I can't measure it, but approximate it. It should have some color, but not fully empty. It shouldn't be just surfaces. But it should have, kind of a void inside it. It should be rigid and sturdy, so it can be handled, rotated, and based on any of its sides without wobbling. This should be or tipping over. So I should be able to take it from you, not like, oh, Wasim, just be careful, just hold it. People have been giving it to me like it's almost about to fall, like as if they're giving me a piece of paper. It has to be rigid. I can look at it, rotate it in my hand, put it on the table, flip it on the table. It shouldn't fall apart. Yeah? And it shouldn't change dimensions, hopefully. And it shouldn't rattle. That kind of stuff. It should be rigid. It should be multi-directional and not give priority to any one direction. So it should look from all sides. It should look good from all sides, excuse me. So I should be able to rotate it, look at it from all sides, and it doesn't have to be the same from all sides, but it should be interesting from all sides. I should look at it from the top, from the bottom. Every angle might be different and really interesting to look at. Yeah, it should be multi-directional, not give priority to any one direction. It should be accessible, and that's another important one. This is as important as the 70 to 80% interior being vacant. It should be accessible so that I can modify its interior and reassemble it. I can open it up, put something inside of it, close it up again, and it would still work. So it cannot be glued shut. Okay? You need to be able to access it. You need to be able to disassemble it and reassemble it and access its interior. I need to be able to put my hand in. Obviously, if it's 70 to 80%, I should be able to get my hand in and mess with the interior of it. Okay? It's not a big secret why I want you to do that, because I'm going to ask you later on to add something to the interior. So you need to be smart about it. But if you keep it completely empty on the interior, the next part of the assignment is not going to be that interesting. So make sure you add some interior to it, but leave 70 to 80% empty. Due date, next week. 9 October at 2 o'clock. You think you can do it? 1 week. 1 cube, 25 by 25. This is not something that you need to sit down and design and work out the conceptual kind of ideas behind it ahead of time so quickly. This is a quick sketch project. The best thing to do is find your materials, because your materials are going to dictate what you do. So if you design something really fantastic and you have this great idea, you've discussed it, and then you cannot find the material, you're not allowed to buy anything, you're dead in the water, right? You can't execute on that concept. The concept has to come, form finding has to come from the material that you found. You have to work backwards. Say, oh, I found a very nice piece of plywood, Dan gave me some perspex, I found a piece of foam, I'm going to do this, put it together. You put all the material on the table, you discuss it, you say, what can we do? Bring your knife, bring tools, start cutting, put it together, experiment with it, reiterate, put it together, and in a week's time. Any questions?
Sorry. Are we able to use like laser cutters or something?
Anything you want.
So I can
Don't buy anything.
Just don't buy anything. Find the material myself and use any tools I wanted. Right?
Like for example, if I found wood in the lab, I can use it.
You can.
Don't buy.
Anything, just don't take out your wallet for the material. Don't pay. Don't order anything from Amazon. Don't buy anything. But other than that, do whatever you want. If it's hard to cut, you don't use it. Yeah, like this is form finding, right? If I buy a piece of, if you find a free nice piece of stone, okay, you decide, okay, I'm going to do something else. It's free, yes, but it's a piece of stone. So material choices inform the design. And also the time limitation informs the design. This is 1 week project, it's not 2 months. So it has to be quick, but it has to be elegant, it can't be rubbish. Yeah? You're architect. So making something that looks of a higher purpose than actually what it is made out of, where the whole is more than the sum of the parts, is part of this assignment. Just to say, very perhaps cheap material or foreign material, but the way you put them together, the way you assemble this cube, makes it more precious and more interesting to look at than the actual material by itself put on the table. Please document the whole process. Catalog all the material that you found on the table. Create beautiful images of the materials. Have somebody take pictures of you assembling them. All of that is going to go into your portfolio. This is something I did not say here, but it goes without saying that everything needs to be documented. Yeah? And you use those images later on. At the end of the term, you make a full catalog that documents the whole process. And this cube is going to stay with you. I will look at it, I will assess it, and then I'll give it back to you. And you will use it for the next assignment, the next week, and the next assignment after that. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Anybody needs a break? 5-minute break? I feel you're happy with the 5-minute break. We'll get a coffee from back.